We really want to spend some time hearing from folks who are, experiencing corporate policies and how that is impacting their lives, their experience getting hired into jobs, the day-to-day experience in those roles. And within the context that we know that, I think we knew this before the pandemic, but more and more we realize that there are too many people locked out of economic opportunity in our country. And that number is growing more and more as the pandemic stretches on. And at JFF, we have really put a priority on pushing forward policies and actions that can help build an equitable economic recovery. And I believe all of us on the line here today believe that corporate leaders really have a critical role to play in making that possible and helping to create that new future. And as Laura was saying, the decisions that corporate leaders make, they have a direct impact on the lives of their employees, all the way from frontline employees to those in the C-suite. And so we hope that this conversation is going to make this a bit more real for you by hearing directly from two amazing folks. And I am really thrilled to be having this conversation with Byron Auguste, who is the CEO of Opportunity at Work. Byron is a remarkable leader and someone who I am really thrilled to call both a friend and a collaborator. So I want to welcome Byron, as well as really the stars of our segment, Amber Wallace Dekie and Wilkin Sanchez. So welcome, everyone. Hi, Byron. It's been a while. It's good to see you.
Hey, Maria.
Great. And there is Wilkin. Hello. And Amber. Great. We are all here. So we're going to start just with two questions for Wilkin and Amber. I would love for them to start by just giving us, kind of a sense of their story. Where are you working now, and what has been kind of your path to this role? And Amber, why don't we start with you?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm currently a help desk associate at Ironbow, and I've been there for the past maybe 7 or 8 months now. My background is mainly in healthcare, but I've been actually doing programs and learning IT for the past few years. I do not have like a traditional education, for IT. So going to these programs, I joined Merit America, and they connected me with Opportunity at Work. And together they have essentially changed my life.
That's amazing. I'm just curious, how did you first hear of Merit America? How did you get connected to them?
I actually applied on Indeed.
Oh, great. Awesome. I'm always curious how folks make those initial connections. Great. And Wilkin, how about you?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm currently working as a cybersecurity associate for Envision Technology Advisors. That's in the state of Rhode Island. And I'm from Bani, Dominican Republic. And when I first came to the United States, it was a little harsh, coming to the huge country. I didn't know what to do. So I started working in factories, fast food places, and many other jobs. I remember that one day I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw a post from Opportunity at Work saying that they were looking for IT specialists. And I said to myself, well, I might not have a college degree, but I do have the experience, by running my own business of computers in the Dominican Republic to taking online classes at my own time at home. So I applied, and they did a couple of interviews. They assessed me, to see if I actually knew what I was doing, and I did. So they connected me with this great organization, Envision Technology Advisors. And they gave me a job as a help desk. So I started at the very low, and now I'm working as a cybersecurity associate.
That's great. That's wonderful. And so on the line, we have leaders from all types of corporations. Just scanning through the list, I know we have folks from Walmart, J.P. Morgan Chase, Salesforce, lots of places. So just curious, what advice would you give them? Either in terms of how could the hiring process, I think be more accessible, or what changes in terms of kind of the day-to-day work experience would you recommend? But would just love to give you the floor. And so Amber, let's start with you again.
Yes, I would hope that in the future that the hiring process will be a little bit more human. I have applied for I don't know how many jobs and heard nothing back. When I joined Opportunity at Work and I matched with 3 jobs, I applied for them all. I didn't expect to hear from anybody, but I heard back from everyone. And I actually received feedback. And I feel like that alone has helped me tremendously, besides, actually getting a job, hearing back, and having more hope that I can get a job is essential. I don't come from like traditional, like a learning background, so I feel like I was weeded out very easily. And now I'm proud to say that I've been with this company. I've been converted to a full, like an actual employee instead of a contractor. So I'm doing great. I feel like I'm thriving. I just got a review, and I mean, I feel like I can do this. I feel like there's a lot of other people out there just like me.
That's amazing. You absolutely can do it. And I know this is just the start of wonderful things that you're going to do. So it's wonderful to hear. And I love, just those very, practical suggestions, right, of getting back to folks, providing feedback. I think you're right that too often that just doesn't happen. And that is a very specific thing that folks can do better. Absolutely. And Wilkin, how about you? What advice do you have?
Yes, so I would say something similar than Amber. Sometimes you apply to jobs, and like Amber said, you never hear back from them. Sometimes you spend an hour filling out an application, and you never hear back from them. Also, there are a lot of gates or roadblocks where they say if you don't have a college degree, you shouldn't be applying for the job. That's not true, especially in the technology industry. You can spend 6 months, let's say, taking online classes, and you can become a developer. You can become a cybersecurity specialist, and those people need to get the job. At least give them the opportunity to sit in the table, have a phone call, maybe an email conversation with the HR managers, so they can know that person better and not only judge them if they have a college degree or not. Me personally, I do know a lot of people who have the experience, and sometimes they are scared to applying for jobs because they don't have the college degree. And I think it's a little unfair because right now there are a lot of open jobs, and if you start seeing that you can hire that person without a college degree, I'm sure you're gonna have a great employee.
Yep, absolutely. I completely agree. It's not fair, right? And that's, I think, a great place to bring Byron in, because I feel he has been such a leader in helping to really change the narrative and to actually drive change around this very issue. And so, Byron, I'd love to just turn it to you and just reactions you have to what Wilkin and Amber shared. How does this kind of resonate with what you're hearing in your other conversations around the country? But I'd love your reflections.
Yeah, well, I guess when I listen to Amber and Wilkin, I have kind of like 3 levels of reflections. First of all, part of what's motivated me to do this work, I'm part of a very large extended family, and I know dozens and dozens of people who don't look on paper like what companies are paying to screen out these people. And I know for a fact that they have a lot to offer. And so when I hear Amber and I hear Wilkin, I mean, I would just say, I agree with you, Amber. I mean, you're not alone. I mean, there are so many people. I think there are millions of people who have much more to offer than our current systems of hiring reflect. And of course, as you say, Maria, that's incredibly unfair. But at the same time, it's also just such a waste from the standpoint of companies, of our economy, of our industries. We have these conversations about work as if, oh, is there going to be enough work for everybody? But work is solving problems, and we've got so many problems to solve. We've got so much to build, to rebuild, to build back better, whether it's infrastructure or healthcare or caring or technology, so many things. And so you need talent like this. And it's really, as employers are sitting here listening, what's so powerful to think about is that there are millions of people out there right now. They are working right now to get ready for jobs that you have. Like they've already got, they're like looking for any signal they have, and they are working to get those skills. They are doing it. They're gaining a lot of the skills on the job, as we've seen in this big report. If you haven't seen it, Navigating with the Stars, that Opportunity Work did. But it's and as much as every employer on this line, it's part of the Impact Employer Network, is actually making an effort and putting forth some time and some resources to try to open up doors to people like future employees like Amber and Wilkin. The fact of the matter is companies today in their systems spend at least 10 times as much money excluding, right, through your applicant tracking systems and your pre-setting and all this stuff. And they spend 10 times as much money excluding as they spend like on the efforts to include. So my advice is, if you want more talent and you want people who are working towards being able to do your jobs, to actually get them and becoming part of your team, do less screening. Remove your bachelor's degree requirements. And if your question then is, how do I then know who I should screen in? Well, there's a lot of answers to that. And one answer is what Opportunity at Work is providing through our marketplace. And Stellar works to try to actually give you an options to think about, oh, maybe it should be from Merit America, or maybe it should be from others. But the point is, that is a problem you should solve. Just like you decide which campuses you want to hire from, you should figure out which of the amazing number of alternative routes you should hire from. And the final thought I have is, you said, Maria, at the beginning, you talked about corporate policies. Now, I worked for a couple of years as a policymaker in government, and I worked a lot with businesses beforehand, and businesses often complain about government policy or regulation. But to an ambitious, hardworking job seeker like Amber or Wilkin, the bureaucracy and the policy that's holding them back is corporate policies. It's company policies. It's not government policies. It's not government red tape. It's company red tape. It's hiring red tape. And like everyone on this call knows there's a lot of complexity to that, and a lot of what Opportunity at Work has set in place. And the reason, for example, Amber could get feedback is because we understand that you can only give feedback at a certain point in the workflow. And so having this whole ecosystem platform means you can give feedback without the kind of legal liability risk. But the point is, humans in the recruiting process want to give feedback to someone like Amber. That is like actually a bilaterally incredibly valuable thing. But we have systems that stop our natural human instincts from doing the right thing. So all we're trying to do is kind of create an alternative lane in the labor market where if you can do the job, you can get the job, right? And you're learning, and all this effort you're making through Merit America and other programs, that your learning can lead to earning. And that's what we need to do to get, a million Ambers and Wilkins into the job market and solving the problems of the future that all these companies need.
That's great. And I think we also definitely know that it's not just kind of the point of hire, but it's also, how do we help individuals really, advance and succeed in their roles? And so just, question for Wilkin and Amber, are there things that your employers have done to really help bolster your success? Or is there anything that you wish they would do that maybe they're not yet, but to really help you set yourselves up for that next step in your career? Any thoughts on that?
Yes, so I can add some to that. In my personal opinion, in my experience, my employers trusted in me. They say, we hire you, we know you can do the job, show me what you can do, and I'll give you the tools, I'll give you training, I'll give you resources. And I did an awesome job to the point that I got promoted to cybersecurity associate. So sometimes it's not only micromanaging. Also, micromanaging an employee, it's a big problem because sometimes you micromanage that person, and that person feels scared, feels hold that they cannot do a good job. So they gave me the opportunity for me to learn new things, to implement new things, and to say and do, what I thought was better for the company and the position. So that's one thing that they did that helped me increase my potential as an employee to the point of getting on a promotion.
That's great. Wonderful. How about you, Amber? Thoughts on that question?
Yes, actually, my current manager, he is awesome. He constantly gives me feedback because they do listen to our calls with our customers. And I love to hear, what I can improve on, where I can find the information to get the, question answered. That is something that is huge for me. One thing that I do wish is I'm slowly moving up. I'm going to be working with the doctors and whatnot, so it's hopefully gonna keep going. But I want to soak in more knowledge. So I wish there was more training that I can look at, even though I know it's coming.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing, but it will come with time, I hope.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good reminder, right? How can employers really be providing that, kind of training on demand, or just concurrently with your current roles to kind of get you ready for that next step. So it's an excellent reminder for folks. And Byron, how about you? Like, how do you think about what companies can take, what actions can they take post placement to really help, develop success?
Well, I'm not going to try to give some recipe because honestly, both the audience on this call in terms of talent professionals and also my fellow panelists in terms of Amber and Wilkin are in a better position to sort of talk about sort of specifics. But what I would point out is that for a company to do a lot of something, it kind of needs to have a system, and it has to have kind of critical mass. So that's why I think it's really valuable. However you're going to tackle this problem, it's going to be much more successful, in my opinion, if you do two things. One, if you actually hire a critical mass of stars, in other words, and stars, for those who don't know, it's people who are skilled through alternative routes. So in other words, they have the skills, but they got them in a mix of on the job, community college, perhaps in the armed forces, in workforce training, like Merit America. But the point is, they come from a variety of routes, but I think the pattern is that you have people who are very resourceful, right? People who are not honestly used to being coddled. Like they've probably had a lot harder jobs than the one they're in right now. But they don't have necessarily they don't know all the norms and like exactly, when people are talking about, I don't know, like what sports did you play in college or something, like, you know what I mean? Like it's sort of, there's a lot of that stuff that can maybe be a bit off-putting. And so I think the two things are, one, have cohorts of people really think about bringing in large numbers, really large numbers of stars, because there's such a massive talent pool. We're talking about 30 million people right now who could actually do jobs that pay, at least 50% more than the ones they're in. So there's a lot of people you can get to. And then the second big part is listen to them, like we're doing on this panel. I think, as talent professionals, you know a lot about what makes a good work environment, and in the way you treat stars. If you have an environment that works well for people from alternative backgrounds, it's honestly going to be a much more equitable environment that works well for everybody. And so that's a great cultural thing. But then the second thing is absolutely listen to the folks you have and adapt accordingly. And so once you get them in your organization, they can help you get better at doing this.
It's terrific. Excellent points. So we have a question from the audience for Amber and Wilkin. And so just as a bit of context, so the folks on this call kind of refer to a framework called the Impact Employer Framework. And so it lays out different kind of actions that companies can take to promote advancement of their workers. But the question is a good one. So if we were to kind of take a blank slate to that, and you were to kind of complete the sentence, an impact employer is, like, what would you say? Like, what do you think are some of the key attributes of an employer that is really going to make an impact on their employees' lives?
Yeah, so I would say that an impact employer is somebody who trusts in their employees. Somebody who can believe in the potential of that individual as a person and also as a professional. If you trust in me, if you know that I'm able to do the job, I will do an amazing job because I know you believe in me. I know that I can come to you with any questions, any concerns that I may have, and you listen to me. That's what I think. It's an impact employer.
It's wonderful. Amber, thoughts from you?
I would say an impact employer is someone who will give you the opportunity and set expectations for that opportunity to give you the chance to grow.
It's great. Okay, so I hope everyone took note of that. Those are some great attributes: trust, believing, opportunity, expectations, and growth. So it sounds good.
And Maria, if I could add, and I think it's from Tommy in the chat, this idea of transparency of how you move up. I do think that's very powerful. One of the things Opportunity at Work has seen in our research and data, we looked at 130 million job transitions, and compared to the sort of the skills that are involved in each job. And so stars do move according to skills, but much less so than people with bachelor's degrees because of all the barriers and exclusionary practices that we've talked about. But even within the stars population, you see that women who are stars are less likely to move than men who are stars. Like, again, I'm talking about people who have the same skill sets from the jobs they're doing. And Black and Latina stars are less likely to move than white stars. And and this is like from a very large data set, really of all job transitions, like in the last 10 years. And what we are concluding from this is that because of the lack of first of all, there's the bias against stars, but then because of the lack of transparency, certain people are more likely to be tapped and say, well, it kind of looks like you can do the job, so you move up, and other people are less likely. And I think that does run along lines of gender and race on average, because for a variety of reasons, including racial bias, gender bias, but also including the fact that it shouldn't have to be the case that within your organization, unless this is the culture you want, that someone has to elbow their way to the front of the line to say, hey, look at me, see what I can do, right? But the fact of the matter is, stars kind of have to do that right now to get ahead. So the more you can provide that kind of transparency that Tommy mentioned on the chat, and I see some others are endorsing of like, hey, what would it look like to kind of move up, and what different pathways can you take within our company, and not to overly prescribe it, but to make it transparent and offer the training and so forth. I think you would be really surprised how much upside there is in your employee base if you do that.
Great. Completely agree. And I'm getting the warning that we need to wrap up. So I'm going to wrap us up here in a moment. But just, Wilkin, Amber, before we let you go, just curious, where do you hope to be 5 years from now? Like, what's next for you, Wilkin?
Yes. So me personally, a couple of years ago, I started a organization called the Rhode Island Group for Hispanic Technology, which we teach technology to Hispanics and also small businesses of the state of Rhode Island. So 5 years from now, I see the Hispanic community developed when it comes to technology. I want to see more young people be involved in this industry and know that there's a network of people that can help you take your life, take your career to the next step. We come from different countries, the Dominican Republic, for example, and we don't know what to expect here in the United States. So my goal 5 years from now is to help my community develop new skills, be more fluent in technology, and to, pretty much achieve the American dream.
Oh, wonderful. And Amber, where are you headed next?
I would love to move up in the IT field and get more certifications. I also do have a goal to go back to school. So once I'm able and, pandemic cools down a little bit, I will be back in school. And I plan to get a bachelor's eventually. So hopefully I will get there soon.
Awesome. Wonderful. Byron, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, Opportunity at Work has a goal, as a mission for 1 million stars like Amber and Wilkin to work, learn, and earn to their full potential. We're aiming for $20,000 a year, higher annual incomes. So times a million, that's $20 billion in additional income. So we think that's a contribution to, reversing this very, very troubling sort of deterioration in kind of earnings standards of Americans without bachelor's degrees. So 5 years from now, I hope to be almost to 1 million, and getting ready to figure out what I'm going to do next, because I'm doing 1 million. America can do the next 30 million.
That's right. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much. This has been really inspiring. Thank you for sharing your time and your stories with us, Wilkin and Amber and Byron. Thank you just so much for your dedication and your leadership on these issues.
And thank you, Maria, and thanks to JFF. This impact employer work is just incredibly important work, because at the end of the day, we can do a lot of other things, but if employers aren't doing their thing, nothing else works.
Absolutely. Thank you all. And Audrey from our team is going to be taking us from here.